Many people have heard of the Milky Way galaxy, but few people attempt to venture further into what the Milky Way galaxy actually is. Today in my presentation, I hope to do just that. The Milky Way galaxy is a vastly unexplored expanse, the last frontier as some call it. Less than 0.01% of the Milky Way has been mapped to date, leaving endless possibilities of new stars and planets that are right there on our front doorstep. The Milky Way galaxy is very unique. It is the only galaxy known to man to have this unique vaulted spiral shape where all the stars and planets vault around to come into this pancake of tightly packed stars. Now, until the early 2000s, scientists thought that this tightly packed ball in the center of our universe was simply a mass of stars, compressed together by the flowing of our galaxy. But after reading the gravimetric readings off the satellites that we're going to talk about later in my speech, they concluded that not only was it a mass of stars, but within that mass of stars, there was none other than a black hole. This is the only known black hole within a galaxy that hasn't swallowed up the said galaxy in the universe. There have been other instances, but all of those galaxies have been swallowed up. Ours has not. Our closest neighbor in what's called the local group of galaxies, a group of 20 galaxies spanning across space that are all relatively close to the Milky Way, is Andromeda. However, Andromeda is not a close neighbor to Milky Way. Even though it is the least distance from any other galaxy, it's actually over 2 million light years away. Let's talk more about Andromeda. Andromeda is over 1.5 times the size of the Milky Way galaxy. Now you would think that its size would mean that there was a lot more planets and stars within. Although its size does dictate the amount of stars, there are actually less planets in Andromeda than there are in the Milky Way. Now, here's an alarming fact. Andromeda is actually moving towards the Earth at an alarming rate of 250,000 miles per hour. Although, in terms of galaxies, this is quite slow, eventually, scientists estimate about 1 billion years from now, the two galaxies will collide and become one, just as Andromeda has done with so many galaxies before due to its fast-moving speed. Don't be frightened though. The change will be so gradually slow because of the mass of our two galaxies that it will be relatively unnoticeable. You may ask yourself, who was the first to map the Milky Way galaxy? That brings us to our next slide, Hippocampus. He was an earlier astronomer, considered the founder of astronomy. He was the first person to look at the stars and say, there's something more out there. And therefore, through all of his findings that he did with his naked eye, unassisted by any tools or any assistance, he found that the Milky Way was indeed a mass and not just stars in the sky. He was a genius, a child genius. He would create his own star and weather charts as a child, simply because he enjoyed the expanse of knowing. He is the founder of modern geometry, not only astronomy and geometry, but this man was an accredited physicist. Later, acclaimed astronomer and scientist Galileo built onto what Hippocampus had. Galileo looked at the findings of Hippocampus and said, there has to be something more. Galileo used his own powerful rudimentary telescope that he made himself to start to map some of the previously unseen parts of our galaxy. Although he made many groundbreaking discoveries, he still was not 100% correct. For instance, Galileo believed that the Earth was the center of our solar system instead of the Sun. The first modern attempt to map the Milky Way galaxy came from Hippocampus 1, the namesake of the original scientist. This satellite was launched by the European Space Agency in 1989 and was in service until 1993. In its time in the orbit, the Hippocampus 1 satellite mapped over 100,000 new stars. However, it is put to shame by the Hippocampus 2. Although at the time the Hippocampus 1's maps were the most comprehensive that we had. The Hippocampus 2's plan, which was launched in 2006, also by the European Space Agency, it plans to map 100 million stars, dwarfing the mere 100,000 by its predecessor. Together with the Hippocampus 1 and the Hippocampus 2, scientists plan to create the most comprehensive map of the Milky Way ever made. The Milky Way is virtually unexplored. There are so many unanswered questions about, for instance, our black hole, the gravitational pull on our planets. It's quite a mystery. There are billions of unexplored planets, billions of unmapped stars, all waiting on our doorstep to be explored. That's what makes this so amazing. It's such a great creation of God. God knew that our curiosity would never run out, so he made something that would almost never run out of answers to give us.